Hello everyone, welcome to level 2 NLG. This is our English class this afternoon here. It's 5 p.m. in California time. So good afternoon or good evening to people around the world who's already evening for you, or good morning. And so welcome, and I just would like to quickly check my audio to see if everything is going okay. I think everything is going okay. Right. All right, so this will be our level 2 class for today. And before we start, of course, I'd like to mention that this class is only for participants who have completed level 1 completely, meaning that you've participated in both sessions of level 1 and you receive all of the energy activations for level 1. And it's also for people who are currently in level 2 and are still, practicing level 2 formulas, and you haven't participated in level 3. Maybe you're waiting, or maybe you just haven't had the time to get your energy frequency upgraded to level 3. And so if that is the case, then you can participate in this level 2. Okay, so if you're still in level 2, then it's okay for you to receive the energy activation as well as listening to the content of today's class. All right, so everyone probably know me by now, but my name is Isabella Ha, and I will be your instructor, your English instructor for level 1 and 2. And also, we had a level 2, one level 2 this morning, and now this is the second level 2 for today. And then after that, we'll keep you posted with more classes coming in September. All right, so before we start our class, I would just like to send you healing energy. Now, if you want to wait for Mr. Lay's healing energy, which will start at 7 p.m. California time, so that will be in 2 hours, then that's fine. You can skip this healing energy from me, but if you know that you're going to miss out on Mr. Lay's healing transmission, then you can receive this one from me. There's no issue with that at all. Okay, so I hope that everyone would be very familiar with how to receive healing energy by now. So I'll just very quickly get my timer, and I will transmit energy to you for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And this is not energy activation. This is just healing energy so that we can get started with our class, so that we're nice and fresh, and our mind all clear and ready to participate in today's level 2. Okay, so now I will go ahead and transmit healing energy to everyone. And our time will start now. Okay, so we have just finished our healing energy transmission for today's level 2. So now let's dive into our level 2 content. Now, before we do that, I'd like to just mention some of the frequently asked questions for everyone. So I mentioned a few this morning, but just to remind everyone that if you haven't been practicing level 1 formulas after you finish taking level 1, and maybe you're wondering whether you can still participate in this level 2, the answer is yes, you can still participate even if you didn't practice level 1 formulas every day for the past weeks or months. Okay, but it is always better that you practice consistently for all of the reasons that we have already talked about. NLG is a practice-based method, so it is really essential that you practice every single day. Sorry, everyone, I'll just, I think people are confused a little bit. Anyway, all right, and then if you want to rewatch previous class videos, that is okay if you want to deepen your understanding of level 1, of level 2, but then remember that when it comes to the energy frequency activation, you have got to participate in real time. So when the video is actually live, okay? Instead of rewatching it and trying to receive the energy activation, because it doesn't work, because at that time when you rewatch it, I'm not going to be there, and none of our energy instructor will be there to actually activate you. So make sure that you understand how energy work as a method, and how to receive the activation most effectively. And also, some people actually ask that when they first started with NLG, that they find it very difficult to focus. That is to sit for 5 minutes and 30 seconds to practice the formula. Now, all I can say is this comes with practice. You will get better as you go. So at first you might only be able to focus for a very short amount of time, but as you continue to do that, you continue to practice, you'll find that you will get more skill, okay, as you continue to practice the formula and learn how to concentrate. And also remember that when you practice the stem cell stimulation formula, and if you don't feel warmth, you can certainly practice it again. You can practice up to 3 times a day. Sometimes it's also because our sensor system has been damaged in some way, or if you're too stressed about it and then you try to focus but then unconsciously put a lot of pressure on yourself, and so in that sense sometimes you don't feel warmth either. So just keep going. That is our advice when it comes to this. And actually we do have a participant mentioning that it took him 8 months to actually feel that warmth when he practiced. So there's no need to stress about not feeling warmth, and the main thing is just to keep practicing and do so in a genuine manner. Now, in the case if you have young children and you want to transmit energy to them, but with young children, they're very, usually very active and they run around, and it could be challenging for you to sit them down and transmit energy to them. So if you're a parent and you want to transmit this loving energy to them, then what you can do is transmitting energy while they're asleep. Okay, that is completely fine. They can still receive energy when they're asleep. And so that is the case with young children. All right, so I think we will just go straight into today's content. Now, level 2 content, as I've mentioned, would be very similar to level 1's, but of course we will approach it with more details. We'll explore a few more examples, and I'll give comparison so that you can, understand more about this technique. We've certainly talked about the formulas. There's quite a few, and of course we'll receive the energy activation at the end of today's class. And also, sorry everyone, I'll just very quickly stop and just tell people, because I feel like people are confused that this is the daily energy transmission from Mr. Lei, but actually we did put up an announcement saying that from today onwards the healing energy from Mr. Lei will start as the usual time, which is 7 p.m. PDT California time. So I'll just quickly translate that into Vietnamese so that people don't panic. Tại kính thưa các quý cô bác anh chị, buổi livestream hiện tại là dành cho các học viên học lớp 2 bằng tiếng Anh ạ. Và ở trên Facebook cũng như là trên Telegram đã có thông báo từ quý cô bác anh chị về việc là từ hôm nay phần truyền năng lượng chữa lành từ chú Phúc sẽ được chuyển về thời gian như ban đầu, có nghĩa là 7 giờ tối theo giờ California, có nghĩa là khoảng tầm 2 tiếng nữa cô bác anh chị quay lại livestream thì lúc đó chú sẽ truyền năng lượng ạ. Cảm ơn quý cô bác anh chị. Okay, so let's resume. With our level 2 formulas, of course, there are quite a few more, and you'll find out that you'll be able to transmit energy to other people as well, not just people in your family. Let's see if there's any other things that I need to tell you about this level 2 before we start. Oh, and of course, when you come in, we hope that everyone would take this class, NLG classes, very seriously, and that you're here with a genuine interest to learn about NLG. Because remember that here at NLG, when we talk about love and moral values, we don't mean that you have to do something, totally out of your reach, or that you have to, think about something fancy, or just, have thoughts about treating others with love and morality. But instead, what we're looking at is changes in behaviors, responses, mindset that you can adapt to a more loving, to the moral values that we've discussed here at NLG. And it's really necessary to exercise love and morality as you go, as well as to upgrade it when you get to a higher class level. Okay, so let me just share the screen here, because we will talk about the 3 logos a little bit deeper. So I hope that everyone can see this on the screen now. Okay. So we've talked about these 3 logos, and in these sequence from left to right. With a cosmic divine light logo, of course, it represents love, light, great lessons, enlightenment that we can obtain, which, this is basically wisdom for all of us to thrive. And this wisdom, when we displayed it and when we take this and to initiate different projects, right, the practice of this wisdom is available at NLG Energy University. So basically this is where it points to the benefits that we need to have to create materials, to create abundance for everyone. And when we have material support, we have health, we have wisdom, we can then build a loving home, and only then that we can truly build a loving home for our entire society. Okay, and so this is where everyone get to connect genuinely. And of course, connect with love and with respect. And for a home to have the meaning, have a true meaning of a home. Now, gradually, of course, we'll guide you to find the techniques to live and build an ascended civilization, to live with that genuine compassion and gratitude and peace for everyone. Because, of course, in our life, we do need to live with discipline. We do need to have directions of where we want to go and how we want to lead our life. So here at NLG, when we talk about discipline, it's not really in the sense of restriction, as you might think, but it is to understand. Okay, so when you understand, you're more likely to do things with consideration, and you understand the reason why it's important to do it in the way that you do. And of course, much like when you live in a society, when you live in a community, you can't just say that you will do things in your own ways, in your own terms, and then ignore everyone else and ignore all of the other things that ensure safety and peace and harmony and comfort for everyone around you. Because as a community and also as a species, we relate, we connect to one another. We live in this entire network, okay, with each other. And of course, you need to follow the formulas that we provide you. Please don't improvise, don't try to change it, because if you do it like that, then you won't succeed. Okay, there are certain rules, there are certain guidelines to NLG of the ways that you do things. And when you're at level 1 and 2, it is essential to get these foundation level right at the very beginning. Okay, so I'll just briefly stop to just answer some of people's question in Vietnamese, because apparently they're confused with this live stream and with the energy transmission. Dạ, để trả lời câu hỏi của cô bác anh chị có hỏi là lúc nãy không biết là livestream này là livestream dạy lớp 2 tiếng Anh và có vô tình lỡ nhận phần chữa lành từ Kiều Anh, thì câu trả lời là chút nữa nếu như mà cô bác anh chị đã nhận chữa lành từ con rồi thì chút nữa cô bác anh chị sẽ không nhận từ chú Phúc nữa, bởi vì chúng ta cần cách 6 tiếng. Nhưng mà cô bác anh chị nào mà lo lắng là không biết là nhận của Kiều Anh có bị sao không, thì câu trả lời là không sao nha của cô bác anh chị, tại bởi vì là con là học viên lớp 5 rồi ạ. Và có thể truyền cho các cô bác anh chị, không có vấn đề gì ha. Vậy chúng ta yên tâm. Okay, so just go back to our class content, and I will no longer answer any question in Vietnamese anymore because this is an English class. And so I'll just focus on our class instead. Sorry, everyone, about that. And I've shared with you the issues as well as the solution, okay, for these 3 areas that we've discussed. So we've talked about the need to work on our 5 forms of love, right, and morality in order to resolve the following problems. And so remember that these are the key. Okay, so love and morality, these are the keys. There's no other way around it here at NLG, as we've already talked about. And remember that even when you're activated, even when you do get access to this energy so that you can utilize it, but then for some reason you decide that you don't want to practice love and morality anymore, then your energy connection will be very, very limited. And probably it wouldn't work for you in the long term. And so it doesn't mean that the energy is not effective, but it's more so that your energy reception, your energy connection, that you can't connect properly to this energy. So when you know that, then of course you can choose to either work on it or you might decide that this is not the path for you. And so I guess you can make up your mind of what you need to do then. So it is not the case that you can come to NLG and receive this energy and then do whatever you wish with it, particularly if it's not for a good intention. Remember that it's all about your frequency. So when your frequency is not of love and morality, then it fluctuates, it changes. So it is not something that any NLG instructor would say that you're wrong or you're right, but it's more so that this frequency, once it's out of sync, when it doesn't match anymore with the frequency of NLG, then it's basically automatically become disrupted. Okay, so it no longer gives you the same effect that you wish for. Okay, so let's just put it that way. So it is not the case that NLG instructor like myself would go around and then try to evaluate your energy connection. But you know that when your practice, if it's been very effective, then of course that means that you connect correctly. But on the other hand, if you don't feel the effectiveness that you want, then you know that you need to work on this key. Okay. And we really need to ask ourselves the honest question here, is that even though we talk about love and morality, but how many of us here have actually done that? So to what percentage do you practice love and morality in your daily life? So think about, since the day that you know about NLG, and then you finish level 1, and so from the time that you finish level 1 all the way until now that you're here participating in level 2, whether you have done enough, right, to show love for yourself and your family. Because remember that at level 1 we work on the first 2 forms of love, and then we proceed to the next forms of love as we go, as we get to a higher level. Because the thing is, you can see it very, very clearly, is that some people, even when their conditions, their illness are not that severe, but if they think that they can come in, they receive the energy activation, and then, receive it for the sake of receiving it, and then continue to rely on Mr. Lay and other people's healing support completely, meaning that they don't even practice stem cell stimulation, they don't practice the formula at all, even though their conditions are not that severe and certainly allow time for that. And then of course in that case they would improve very little. Okay, and so when you have the ability to practice, we highly suggest that you do, because when you put out reasons such as I'm busy, or I was in the middle of doing this or that, basically it's not about making excuses to tell other people, but what you need to understand is that you're missing out on the opportunity to do some of the most amazing things for yourself. Okay, because remember that no one can practice the stem cell stimulation formula for you. That is a formula that is very, very highly recommended that you do practice, but it's also the formula that no one can practice for you. Other people can help to give you healing support, but they can't stimulate your stem cells for you. And so it's all about your own journey. It's about self-awareness and build that discipline for your practice. This is about you. This is about your learning process, and it's about supporting the stem cells, your stem cells, because they will be the one who'll be doing all of this hard work at the end of the day. because as I've already mentioned in level 1, they are part of you. They work in this huge, network within your body. They help to improve your health. And of course, before we didn't know that we can utilize this energy like this. We didn't know of how to do it, how to connect. But now that we know about this energy, we know the way to connect to it properly, then what are the reasons for you for not, to not practice, to not devote time for this? Because after everything that we've talked about, of course, it's very necessary for us to connect and to maintain that connection. So it's very much like when you got Wi-Fi and then you upgrade it, or as time goes on, we now have very advanced technology. We used to be on 3G, okay, and now we're 4G and 5G. So of course, once you get to experience something like 5G, you don't want to go back down to having no internet. So of course, it's very necessary as well that when you truly understand, and this is what we found, is that when people truly appreciate NLG for what it is, then they're more willing to prioritize their own practice. If you say that you don't have time to practice, if you are busy, or something like that, then what you find is that as you keep proceeding with a high class level, for example, level 3, it can be challenging for you to understand the content because you haven't been actually practicing what you've learned. So from experience, I can tell you that it is much, much better if you devote time to practice, to revise the level 1 and 2 content when you have time to do that, but really to practice, to feel that energy, helping you as you go. Okay, so I will now talk a little bit about the similarity, the connection between the brain and the universe. We've talked about this briefly in level 1. And so we know that even the smartest of us have only used up to and really know of the brain probably from 7 to 10%. And there's so much more to it that we should explore. So a lot of people, I guess, when it comes to the brain, when it comes to us, they compare our brain as a mini universe. And of course, we need to understand, right? Because there's so many things that we haven't know about this. And when we want to connect, of course, we need to have the right frequency, and it is the +1 -1 frequency. When you're in that frequency, the cells in your body will be able to upgrade because they will receive this energy source from the outer space civilization. And you will see that very evident in, for example, as you continue to practice, you feel like your mind is a lot clearer and you get to initiate ideas or opinions that are a lot more effective, that are much quicker than before. I'm sure that when you have those moments where you just have a really, really good idea and you're very certain of the things that you want to do. So what we want is to maximize that, not just having 1 or 2 good moments like that, but always in that state where you understand and you're filled with all of these amazing, brilliant ideas that you can put into work to benefit our community. And in order to do that, in order to have that marvelous vision comes true, then of course the cells in our body, we need to take care of them every single day. When we're able to upgrade our brain, going from 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, much like a phone, then once you're you're at 5G and you get to experience that, that would be really amazing. And that is a comparison. Our brain doesn't actually go up to 5G, but I'm comparing it to how, on our phone, we have, 5G. And it's one of the most amazing things that you get to experience if you already have that. And remember that in order to get to this frequency of +1, -1, it is something that we need to have control of. So we can position ourselves in that frequency. As an NLG instructor, I can only help to activate your brain cell and your stem cell, but I cannot, that is activation, right? That is not the gradual upgrade. It's the activation. But then when it comes to your +1, -1 frequency, it's all on you. So once again, a lot of people, when they come into class and they think that they can rely all on the energy instructor, but our job is just to connect you, reactivate you. And then the rest, you need to put in the work, you need to put in the time, and of course, interest and, genuine passion to learn more, to explore, and to practice. With the 5 forms of love, of course, after you finish level 1 and 2, you might observe that there's changes in your life, and mostly it comes when you change as well. So when you change according to the principles of love and morality, to be a kind, caring person, and to be calm when you encounter any situation, whether you like it, whether you don't like it, whether it's something that is unexpected, you can still maintain your composure. And that's, when you're in that position, you feel that the things around you would change as well, because like attracts like. And of course, there's the laws of karma, of what goes around comes around. And of course, you cannot get away with doing the wrong thing. That's one of Mr. Lei's favorite saying. And then on the other hand, if you're consciously making an effort to do the right thing, to do the good things, then that will be recorded down as well by the outer space civilization. And then maybe the people that you help, they don't have the ability to help you back, to return that favor, but then someone else would come in to help you when you need. And that is how these things work. And so that's one of the reasons why it is much better to just keep doing the right things, doing the good things, treat people nicely, care about them, rather than sort of calculating and try to evaluate, okay, I've done all of these good things, why is it that nothing good happened to me? Okay, because it could be that you need to help 100 people and not expecting those 100 people to give anything back, and then that 101th person, that one person can then help you in the most amazing thing that you could ever imagine. And that would just exceed, everything that those other 100 people can give back to you. Okay, so it's all about not being too bothered by, okay, when good things going to come to me, but it's more so about, I'm here to do these good things and I'm ready, and I don't need anything in return. And so we sort of need to have that mindset, because we understand that whatever has happened, that all of the good things that we do will be calculated by the outer space civilization, and then we'll be able to save up a lot of our good karma credits to then attract the good things, good people, good opportunity to come to us. Now, especially when something unexpected happened to you, because oftentimes when nothing bad happened, then a lot of the time we think that we can be a very calm person, a very loving person, But then what happens is sometimes when unexpected things occur, and then we find ourselves in a situation where we need to make decisions we're not comfortable with, and we're quite upset. And so that's when, your reaction, your response really counts. And think about them as a test. Okay, so it is a test from other people, it is a test from life. And the way that you respond, we suggest that you always put love and morality at the core of everything, so that you can still add up a lot of good karma credits for yourself, regardless of the situation, and then to attract, better things to come as well. And remember that you need to upgrade your love as you go up the higher class level. So we've already worked on self-love and love of family. And then, of course, we need to work on love for country, and the rest goes on. And it's really necessary that you eventually get to love for humanity. So that exceed the first 3 forms of love. And in high class level, Mr. Lay will certainly explain why and how, and why is it that's so important to focus on the common good of humanity. Now, the +1 -1 frequency, I'll touch on this because it's really, really important. So the +1 -1 frequency. Now, let's say that if you are in a very negative state, of course, what you're doing when we talk about energy perspective is that you're getting further and further away from the +1 -1 frequency. And think about the +1 -1 frequency as your safe zone, the safe zone to receive energy connection. And, whatever happened, just take responsibility, and, face the situation in a calm, loving manner. And even when deep down that you might think, why is it that this thing happened to me? But think about that karmic consequences that we mentioned briefly, because with karmic consequences, it doesn't just happen in this life, but the many lives that we've served. And just note that the outer space civilization oversees everything. They evaluates everything. And so everything around us is fair. Okay, there's reasons for everything. And it all depends on how we live our life. And if you've been doing the things that are not so great, then of course, how do you expect great things to come to you, right? And it could also be that, that karmic relationship that you have for the many lives that you've had. And this topic goes a little bit more in depth into quite a sensitive topic here, and so probably I'll leave that until level 3 for Mr. Lay to dissect everything, all of the details, all of the question from you. If you do have your question about good karma credits, about karmic consequences, and energy. But just so we know that energy is a great mean to do the great things, okay? Because energy is all about love, morality. So when you use energy formula, because at energy, we only instruct you to do the good things. So when you use the formula for good cause, then of course you get to save a lot more good karma credits. For example, at level 2, other than your family member, you get to support other people as well. And then in level 3, there are more formulas that you can use, and your energy frequency will allow you to support other people or more people and to do really miraculous things. And I've already mentioned that when people come into NLG, where they really want to learn, they really want to explore this method with a genuine interest, then that's when they can connect to this +1 - 1 frequency most easily. So they get access to the energy connection more strongly. And with that, things like healing, things like improvement and enlightenment, they can experience it quicker compared to people who are skeptical and who wants to come into NLG to find its flaw, who are unwilling to open up their heart to learn, and in some cases even have pretty strong opinions about energy, but that it's okay because you're not left out. Okay, so if you are the people in the second category, and once you sort everything out, you help yourself to understand energy better for what it really is, and then you regulate your mindset and you think, okay, now I'm really much on board with NLG and I really want to get the most out of this energy method. And then as long as you regulate your frequency of love and morality, and then you come in with an interest to learn, then that's when you can still get energy connection. And also just a tip about when you practice the formula is that if you're trying to work on something, say let's do a journal or take a photo of yourself, and then you can take several photos as you go, and then look back at those photos a couple of months later, and see if there's any visible changes, any visible improvement, or just working on a journal, recording down the things that you feel to keep track and be very engaging with that improvement process. All right. I think I will now go straight into the formula because we have quite a few, and I would very much love to explain the formula thoroughly to everyone so that you understand exactly how to use them. And then, of course, after this, we'll do the energy activation. And then I'll help everyone to practice the stem cells stimulation frequency in class so that when you go home, you actually, when you practice on your own, that is, that you have a better understanding of how to practice it. Okay, so first of all, this is the stem cell stimulation frequency. And remember that all of these formula, I will post them in the Telegram groups. I will share with you our QR code later on. And actually you can find, if you can't scan the QR code, what you can do is on YouTube, just under the description box of this live stream, you can find the link to level 1 and 2 Telegram. So the link for level 1 and 2 on our Telegram, and with that you're able to connect and to receive the formula set. Okay, because sometimes when you do screenshot and when you try to save the formula while it's shown here on the live stream, sometimes it's not so clear. So I just thought I'll say that. Okay, so this is the stem cell stimulation frequency formula. So of course, remember that step 1 is always think about this as a request or a command. And of course, you need to get it correct. Do not change the wording of any of these steps. It's really important, especially at this foundation level, to get everything right. And if you have a question about anything, it is better to ask before you implement the formulas on yourself or on other people. So step 1, you will recite silently once in your head, meaning that you think about these. So with NLG formula in general, you think about it in your head, okay? You don't need to say it out loud. So step 1, you think in your head, receive cosmic divine light, new era NLG level 2 frequency band, stem cell stimulation frequency. recite silently once. And then step 2, receive energy into the brain. Now you would visualize energy from outer space entering the brain. So you would say receive first time, receive second time, receive third time, and give that 3 to 5 seconds in between. And then once you receive, you will then send that energy. In step 3, send energy from the brain into the ERC. Now the ERC is here. Well, I hope that after, because everyone here is supposed to finish level 1 already, and you've been practicing, I suppose, so you will understand what the ERC is and where it is, right? So it is at the back of your neck. And so you send first time, second time, third time, and then after that, step 4, continuously direct energy into the brain to the ERC and continue sending it from the ERC down the entire spine to the coccyx. Okay, so all the way down here. Continuously support the energy, maintain warmth for the entire spine to stimulate stem cells until alarm rings. Now, please note that when you practice this formula, you do need to keep your eyes open and you direct energy accordingly. You need to be in a state of mindfulness, completely aware of everything around you, even if you see something, please learn to not get distracted by any of those stimuli. And then, of course, here you can find the practice duration. This is, it depends on your age. So if you're above 18 years old, then you can practice for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, if your child or your children joins you for NLG, and let's say they are 12 years old, then they should only practice this for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, so please follow this time. And all of this has been standardized. So it's actually not better to practice more or less. Okay, so make sure that you practice exactly as the time suggestion here. And I would also like to mention very quickly that with our NLG formula, that you keep your eyes open while you practice. But let's say if you have a vision impairments, if you have an eye-related condition that prevents you from opening your eyes and you have to keep your eyes closed, of course you can be very flexible with that. You can certainly close your eyes because of your medical condition. Now, in case if you have question about this, you want to understand more about this, or you need extra support, you can always contact us via our hotline, our Telegram groups, or our Facebook. It's completely okay. All right, so onto the second formula here. This is the self-healing formula. So once again, this is the formula that you will use on yourself. So step 1, you will say silently in your head, of course, receive cosmic divine light, new era, NLG, level 2 frequency band, self-healing frequency. Then on to step 2, receive energy into the brain, first time, second time, third time. And of course, you visualize energy from outer space entering the brain. Okay. And then step 3, send energy from the brain here, into the ERC, send first time, send second time, send third time. And then in step 4, continuously direct energy into the brain and continue to transmit it into the ERC. Let the warmth of energy spread on its own until the alarm rings. And once again, you keep your eyes open when you practice and you direct energy accordingly. And here you can have a look at the practice duration according to your age. All right, so this is direct healing frequency. And remember that now that, after this, you'll be a level 2 energy participant, so your energy frequency would be higher. but please read the notes on these healing formulas before you practice. So step 1 of this formula, you will say receive cosmic divine light NLG, receive cosmic divine light new era NLG level 2 frequency band, direct healing frequency. Step 2, receive energy into the brain of the transmitter. So basically, if you're transmitting energy, you are the transmitter. So you receive energy into your brain. Okay, first time, second time, third time. And then step 3, send energy from the brain of the transmitter into the recipient's ERC. So from your brain into the person who's receiving energy into the ERC. Send first time, second time, third time. And then in step 4, the transmitter continuously transmit energy from the brain of the transmitter into the recipient's ERC. Let the warmth of energy spreads on its own until alarm rings. So basically what that means is in step 3, once you send it 3 times, what you do in step 4, it's keep it going. Okay, so you can continuously supporting and keeping that energy there. You transmit it there continuously until the alarm rings. Now, because this is direct healing means that the recipient needs to be physically there with you, because you are required to put your 2 hands on the recipient's ERC, like shown in the picture here. And then practice duration. This is according to the recipient's age, not your age. Okay, so for example, if you're assisting someone who is above 18 years old, you practice that this formula for 5 minutes and 30 seconds, so on and so forth. And then for 0 to 3 years old children, because the practice duration is very short, it's only 30 seconds to 1 minute. So what you can do is you can start with step 1 and 2 without the timer. And then as you get to step 3, that's when you press the timer, you set it to 30 seconds, or you can or 45 or 1 minute, it depends on you. So anywhere from 30 seconds to 1 minute. And then once you press the timer, you will start from step 3. And that only applies for the age group of 0 to 3 years old. If you're supporting people or children from 4 years old and above, then of course you need to press the timer, and then you start from step 1. Okay. Now note that level 2 participants are not yet ready to support people with neurological diseases. And while performing, the transmitter and the recipient keeps their eyes open, maintain a state of mindfulness. The recipient, and this is something that you can instruct the recipient to do, is that they can visualize their ailing areas. If there's many, then just focus on the ERC and the entire spine. Before supporting another person with serious illness, the transmitter must feel warmth for 5 minutes and 30 seconds during the practice of stem cells stimulation formula. And with this formula, you can support 1 time per day per person. And then in severe cases, you may support them twice a day, 6 hours apart. Now, because with this direct healing, you do need to put your hands on the recipient's ERC. So it is really important to inform them and to get permission from them that to do that. Now, in case of a family member, okay, who may be a little stubborn at times, and they're busy and they just don't have time to receive energy from you, you can still transmit energy to them, okay, because they're your family members. But let's say if it's a friend or a colleague or an acquaintance, and if you talk to them about this and they're not on board with you, then please do not transmit energy to them, because it's really important that the recipient understand completely what this energy transmission is about, and they're consciously receiving energy from you when you transmit it. Because here's the thing, a lot of the time people report that it's not so effective, and then they realize that when they ask their friends to or colleague, co-worker to receive energy from them, that their friends and co-worker are just being nice, and so they agree to it, but they actually don't want to receive energy. So you need to be very genuine about this whole thing, and you've got to talk to them about it, and make sure that they're okay with receiving energy. Okay, now on to this indirect healing frequency formula. So we have the direct healing, and now we have the indirect healing. So what indirect healing means is that when the recipient is not physically there with you, you can still transmit energy to them. And there's generally 3 circumstances. So the first one is through a phone call. Okay, so whether you have the camera on, whether it's a video call or whether it's just a normal call, that's completely fine. A lot of people choose to do video call so that they can see each other, so the recipient can see the transmitter, and they're a lot more comfortable with that. But in case if that is not available, then a normal phone call without any video would be fine as well. And then the second case is through an arranged time without any picture of the recipient. Now, it could be that you can't find a time to phone each other, or due to different time zone between countries. So in that case, what happened is, what you can do is that you can make an appointment with the recipient to transmit energy to them. So for example, you say to them, okay, so in the morning, I will send energy to you at this time. And so at that exact time, you would transmit energy and the recipient would knowingly receive it without you guys having to phone each other or anything like that, because you've already made that appointment. You know exactly when to transmit and receive energy. And of course, you just follow the formula, nothing differs in any of these circumstances. It's just that we're just giving you examples so that you understand in which circumstance that you can transmit energy to people indirectly. And then the third case is through picture. So you send energy to people through pictures. You can ask the recipient for their photo, and then you can transmit energy to them accordingly. Now, this is particularly useful when the recipient is in a coma. So you can, if their family contact you and ask you for support, then you can ask them for the recipient's photo, and with that, you can transmit energy to them when they have no consciousness. Now, some people might ask that, okay, so how do I transmit energy in these cases, in some of the cases, if I cannot see the recipient? Remember that with NLG energy, you direct and you channel energy through your thoughts. Okay, so you recite these commands, these messages in your head that you want to transmit energy to the recipient. However, and I cannot stress this enough, is that you've got to inform your recipient or the family of the recipient if they cannot give consent, if they're not, mentally competent to discuss this matter with you. And you've got to make sure that there's consent, that everybody knows exactly what's going on, and that they look for you for support. Okay, you cannot watch something on the news and then see that there's like an accident or something, and then you transmit energy to those people out of sympathy. Okay, so that is not something that you can do. And particularly when people don't ask you to do it. In those situations, you can't just randomly transmit energy, particularly at this foundation level. There's a lot of things at foundation level, a lot of basic that you've got to work on before you can learn to work on other things when you get to a high class level. All right. So I'll just go through this formula with you. So this is the indirect healing frequency. So you recite the first step in your head, and then in step 2, you recite in your head saying, receive energy into the brain of the transmitter. It is very similar to direct healing. Receive first time, second time, third time. And then step 3, that's when you send energy from the brain of the transmitter into the recipient's ERC. First time, second time, third time. And also, let's say when you're doing FaceTime, okay? Of course, you're putting your phone in front of you, and so the person can see your face. So you're transmitting energy, and the person on the other end of the line receiving energy. So when you're facing each other like that, you can't really see the recipient's ERC, like when you do it directly, okay? Because directly, you put your hands on the ERC, and so it's much better for you to visualize. But don't be concerned about not being able to see the recipient's ERC, because energy is directed through thoughts. Okay, so even if you can't see it, but you give the command, it still works. So you don't need to ask the participant to show you their ERC. Make sure that they're sitting, on the other end of the line, facing you, so that they can actually see you. Now, in step 4, the transmitter continuously transmit energy from the brain of the transmitter into the recipient's ERC. Let the warmth of energy spreads on its own until alarm rings. And so the notes is very similar. Please go through them, okay? It said here that level 2 participants are not yet ready to support patients with neurological diseases when performing healing on another person. Both the transmitter and the recipient need to maintain a state of mindfulness. Now, for indirect healing, the transmitter closes their eyes. The recipient opens their eyes, focus on the transmitter forehead, and visualize receiving the energy from into the ailing area. If there's too many ailing areas, just visualize receiving energy to the ERC and the entire spine. Of course, before you support someone with serious illness, you must feel warmth for 3 minutes and 30 seconds during the practice of stem cell stimulation formula. And remember that with, in level 2, with level 2 energy frequency, this indirect healing formula can only be done one-on-one. Okay, you can only assist one person at a time. And of course, for severe condition, you may support them twice a day, 6 hours apart. And the practice duration is according to the recipient's age. And here it's stated very clearly the 3 options that you can choose to send the recipient's energy indirectly. All right. So here is the encouraging family frequency. This is a very, very interesting one, and we'll go through it very thoroughly so that you understand how to use this one properly. So I'll go through the formula first, and then I'll explain it further. So step 1, receive cosmic divine light, new era NLG level 2 frequency band, encouraging family frequency. Step 2, receive energy into the brain of the transmitter. So if you're sending out this energy message, then you are the transmitter. Receive first time, second time, third time. And then step 3, send energy from the brain of the transmitter into the recipient's brain. Send first time, second time, third time. Okay, so it is from your brain into the recipient's brain. right? And then in step 4, you send encouraging messages to the recipient's brain, and then you keep transmitting messages continuously over and over again until alarm rings. Practice duration is 5 minutes and 30 seconds, 1 time per day per person. Now, this formula, as the name suggests, it's only for family members on both sides of your family and those who are very, very close to you and have a direct relationship with you. For example, parents, in-laws, or people that you're very close with, like a co-worker, but only when you're very, very close to them. Not in the case of an acquaintance or like someone that you barely know at work, like you can't really encourage those people, but only people that you're very close with. And it is possible to encourage many people in one session if you transmit the same message. So, for example, in your family, you have 2 kids, and then both of your kids really, truly enjoy video games to the point where it could be very unhealthy for them. And so if you're trying to send the same message for them to be more mindful of the amount of time that they spend on video game and to actually, devote that time to study, to play outdoor, to do something more effective, then you can send the same message to both of your kids in one practice session. Okay, so when the message is the same, you can do that. But if you want to encourage them with different content, different messages, then you've got to practice this in separate sessions for each of the person that you want to encourage. If the message is very long, we suggest that you write it down and you repeat it over periods of day. So when remember that is also very useful for in step 4, because in step 4, that's when you will keep transmitting the same message over and over again to the recipient's brain. And if you're afraid that you're going to forget, if you're going, if it's too long, then you can certainly write it down. And we suggest that you work on the same message until you see changes. And you need to be patient with it, very, very patient with it. And when you perform this formula, you can open or close your eyes as your recipients will not be sitting in front of you. And also, please don't practice this formula when the person that you want to encourage is around. And certainly you don't need to tell them. Because here's the issue. Okay, so I'll talk about the issues and I'll talk about the solution. So the issues in many of these cases for many of us that we've experienced with our loved ones in our family is that sometimes you can tell that they're having a really unhealthy habit, and you try to talk to them about it, or in many cases you can't seem to talk to them about it because whether it's not safe for you to talk to them about it, things can get pretty ugly, messy, and violent. And then sometimes when you get children or teenagers in particular, when they're at that very sensitive period of development, and when you try to talk about some things, sometimes it's because of your choice of words and because of the emotion that's involved. So a lot of the time it's not that effective. And so when that happens, you can then use this formula to encourage your family member using energy in energy form. So you don't actually have to talk to them directly about it, but you're basically talking to them in energy form. And with that, that will help to, that will has an effect on their brain, okay, upgrading their brain, help them to understand, to realize that it is better, that it is more effective to adapt a more healthy habit. Now, so examples of the messages that you can send is, for example, for people to practice moral quality, to have love, to, work on certain concerns, or to ensure that there's fairness within workplace, or to take care of themselves, or to encourage people to quit smoking, quit drinking, and to quit playing video game excessively. Okay, so those sort of things. So basically, when you see that there should be a change in behaviors and habit, that you can do it. However, you absolutely cannot use this formula to take advantage of people, to tell them what to do, as in to tell them to do things for you, okay, in an unjust way. This formula, it's not for that purpose. And you cannot use it for that purpose, because the moment you think about using this energy, this formula, to do something like that, to take advantage of people, you'll be disconnected straight away. And you'll find that it's not going to be, very effective. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Keep in mind that the core of NLG is love and morality, and is very sensitive to that frequency. If you go outside of that frequency, then you don't get to connect properly. And of course, if you want to, and I mean, this is very logical, is that if you want to encourage someone, of course, you need to work within yourself first. So only when you're actively practicing the formula, you show love for yourself, you show love for your family, you get your energy connection, properly. You get proper energy connection, and that's when you can utilize this encouraging family frequency, and you know that you're ready to use this formula when, during the 5 minutes and 30 seconds of stem cell stimulation, if you feel warmth, okay, if you feel that warmth, or in cases where you experience a tremendous level of improvement, of health improvement, then you know that you're actually connected properly, and that you're ready to utilize this formula. Okay, so moving on. All right, so this is the hand position. This is the hand position for healing deafness. Now, when you utilize this hand position, the steps of the formula are similar to the direct healing formula. So basically, you take out your direct healing formula, you follow it, the way that you position your hand to support deafness is as depicted in this picture here. So while performing the formula, the transmitter visualizes sending energy to the ears, the brain, and the entire spine of the recipient. And the position is that you put two hands on both ears, so the fingers are on the earlobes here, like this. Now, in the case, if you're assisting yourself, if you have an issues, a hearing impairment, what you do is that, of course, you can't do this because it's quite awkward. So if you want to do it for yourself, if you have an issue and you want to support yourself, then what you can do is, with your hand like this, you put your hand like this, okay, over your two ears. Okay, and with that, that's how you utilize the hand position to support yourself. And then for other people, it would be this hand position here that you can see on the screen. Okay. Very similarly, this is hand position for all vision impairment, eye-related condition. So while you perform, and you, of course, need to utilize the direct healing formula. And while you perform, the transmitter visualizes transmitting energy to the eyes, brain, and entire spine of the recipient. So what you do is you gently place both hands on both sides of the person's temple. And then, of course, this middle finger here on the end of the eyebrows, right, of the recipient. And if you want to heal yourself, then what you can do is you put your hand like this on your brow bones, not on your eyes, because that would just be very sore afterwards. And of course, you don't want to do that on your eyes, but you do this on your brow bones. Place your hands very gently. Okay. And moving on. This is the hand position for all conditions of nervous system of the brain when you're assisting another person. So while you perform this, you visualize sending energy to the brain and the entire spine. And the transmitter should be flexible in how the hands are placed, depending on the recipient's condition. So for example, if that person's having a condition that they can't stand up, or they can't sit up and they have to lie down, then just be flexible with how you place your hand on their head, just to make them, make sure that it's appropriate according to the conditions that they're having. And of course, at the beginning, you put your two hands on either side of the brain like this, sending energy into the recipient's brain. And then after 2 weeks or about a month, you can follow up with the progress as you transmit energy to them. But after about that time, you can then change your hand position. So put one hand on the brain here, and then the other hand on the ERC. Okay, so one on their person's head, and then one on their ERC. Okay, so some notes before we dive into the actual energy activation. So for level 2, you practice 2 formulas every day for yourself, the stem cell stimulation and then self-healing. You can practice continuously or 1 or 2 hours apart. Only level 2 students who have graduated from level 1 and receive activation from level 2 can practice these formulas. Now, the remaining formula, meaning the healing formula and the healing formula for other people, that is, and then encouraging family can be used in case of helping others as needed. Practice requires full concentration for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. If you are distracted for more than 30 seconds, just scrap that and reset the timer and start again. Of course, you need to choose a quiet place to practice. Keep your eyes open, but you can blink. You can choose to focus on a point or an object to help with your concentration, and avoid using or sitting in front of a fan or an aircon, because sometimes that prevents you from feeling the warmth of the energy. And of course, you need to maintain your moral values, 5 forms of love, and the +1 -1 frequency to receive the best results. Now, when you practice the stem cell stimulation formula, if you feel warmth at the entire spine for 5 minutes and 30 seconds, then you only need to practice this formula once a day. But then in contrast, if you practice it and the entire spine doesn't feel warm, then you can practice for a second time and a third time. So up to maximum 3 times a day in a row, or 1 to 2 hours apart. You should practice this formula at least 6 hours before you go to bed, because late practice can lead to excess energy, causing difficulty sleeping. And then for self-healing formula, healthy or mildly ill people need to only practice self-healing once a day. In case of severe disease, practice twice a day. Or healing, meaning that self-healing, or when you receive healing support from someone else, you should space 6 hours apart. And in case of emergency, then you can practice self-healing right away. There's no need to wait for 6 hours. Okay, so I think that we have completed with all of the notes, all of the important notes. So now I'll go ahead and activate you for the level 2 energy frequency. And this will be 1 minute and 30 seconds. Oh, I will show you the demonstration video of course, so that everyone is clear on how to receive this energy frequency of level 2 energy activation. Okay, so what you do is you will look at my forehead, you visualize energy going from my forehead into yours, and then you continuously receiving it until time is up. Okay, like that. So you will continuously receive energy into your brain, visualize it goes from mine into yours. And of course, you need to keep your eyes open the whole time. I will have my eyes closed because I will be transmitting energy, but you will keep your eyes open. You're very focused for this 1 minute and 30 seconds. Okay, so I hope that everyone is clear by now. All right, so let's get this energy activation, everyone, and we'll start now. Okay, so we just finished the level 2 energy activation. So now we will practice the stem cell stimulation formula together, just so you get the gist of, how to practice it. When you practice it by yourself at home, I will play a demonstration audio, okay, so that everyone is clear on what to do. And then I will also put the formula up on the screen here so that you can have a look, you can read along in your head. Okay, and I will temporarily turn off my video so that everyone can see better. Okay, so let's practice this formula now, everyone. Session. To receive cosmic divide light new era NLG level 2 frequency band, stem cell stimulation frequency. The timer will be set to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's begin. Step 1. Recite silently once. Receive cosmic divide light new era NLG level 2 frequency band, stem cell stimulation frequency. Step 2. Receive energy into the brain. Receive first time. Receive second time. Receive third time. Step 3. Send energy from the brain into the ERC. Send first time. Send second time. Send third time. Step 4. Continuously direct energy into the brain to the ERC
and continue sending it from the ERC down the entire spine to the coccyx. Continuously support the energy, maintain the warmth for the entire spine to stimulate stem cells until alarm rings.
All right, so we just completed practicing the formula together. So I hope that give you a good idea of how to practice the formula as well as other formulas on your own. And congratulations everyone on having completed level 2 stem cells stimulation. Sorry. And well, yes, of course. Congratulations for completed your very first level 2 stem cells stimulation session. Well, if it's not the first for you because you've already completed level 2 before, then still congratulations, great job. And so from today, since you've been activated with the level 2 energy frequency, you can start practicing level 2 formula until you, of course, participate in level 3 and so on and so forth. Then you adapt to the new formula. But for now, you will be using level 2 formula, and there is no need to practice the level 1 formula anymore. Okay, so when you're in a high class level, you can discard all of the previous class level formula and only practice the formula of your current class level. All right, and now I'd like to share with you the QR code so that you can join these groups. So you can ask questions, you can receive posts and announcements and class events here. And if you have any question, of course, feel free to post them on here. I will post the formula set has already been posted since this morning. So once you scan this QR code, you will see level 2 formula set in this group here. Okay, and if you can't find it, if you can't navigate it, or if you have an inquiry, feel free to put it in the chat box, which is the chat group, sorry, which is the second QR code here. Okay, this is where you can actually ask question and also interact with your fellow level 2 and level 1 participant. And now I'd like to very quickly share with you our upcoming classes. So this will be at the end of August and the start of September. So you can see we have another level 1 at the end of August, and then a level 2 at the start of September. So if you're interested to revise, and if you have a family of member or friend who would like to start with NLG, then you can send them this schedule. This has been posted on our Facebook as well as Telegram group. And remember that if you're already at level 2, if you want to come in to listen to level 1's content, then you can do that. But please do not receive level 1 energy activation if you are already in level 2. Okay, try to stay with your current class level so that you can continue to practice the formula of your current class level. All right, so thank you everyone very, very much for participating. On behalf of all participants today, I'd like to say thank you to our NLG founder, Mr. HOTLINE, and of course, thank you to everyone working behind the scenes, supporting this program. And I will certainly see you in our future classes, and hopefully I get to see a lot of you in the upcoming level 3 online. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you again very soon. Thank you, everyone.